The agenda. We'll start the meeting of the Community Services Committee on Wednesday, the 3rd of June, here at the Town Hall. We have an agenda and lots of people here, which is lovely. But have we got any apologies?
I've received no apologies, Chair.
Okay. Any declarations of interest? Chair's report and urgent items. Have there been any urgent items? Because I was just going to say a few words about just stuff I've been getting in.
Chair, there are no urgent items.
Okay. So I was just going to say, as part of the Chair's report, that I have a lot of conversations and receive a lot of emails, and I'm sure as councillors you all do as well, and they are mostly positive from concerned residents on matters that are covered within the remit of this group. And that's something that we'll come on to discuss in due course on one of the items of the agenda. And these include feedback on the planter that's on the concourse, the park run feedback, and floodlights in the park. I spoke to the Youth Council just recently, and in fact they were saying that the young adults, and actually probably one child, I think I would call her, were all very keen on the idea of floodlights in the park because they felt that their safety was important, as well as trying to avoid what is they are accused of doing, unfortunately, and as young people tend to be. People are really communicative and really supportive, and of the council generally, and I think it's great that people get in touch so that we know that we're on the right track and that we can continue to provide a good service to all of our residents and visitors. And so, as a Chair's report just today, I wanted to say thank you to the councillors who look at their emails and respond to emails, and thank you to the officers and the staff who work hard to achieve what we feel is that in this committee is in the best interest of Harpenden. And it's obviously notable that some people don't always agree with us, which is a shame. And it's sad that not everybody likes everything that we do, but we do try and act in the best interest of Harpenden. So notably, what I've been contacted about recently, as I mentioned earlier, the planter, park run, things like that. And a marker should be placed down, in my opinion, from this committee for councillors to consider going forward in line with our new terms of reference and our business plan, a better facilities for Rothamsted Park. So specifically looking at whether we can manage to provide toilets within in a building, a pavilion that is fit for purpose, and one that would be something that would be proud of in an open and public space for our talented artists, our sports clubs, for other activities to use. People have contacted me about pétanque courts or pistes, hockey, a bike park. A young lad who, it turns out I know, wrote a very eloquent email about BMX facilities and ramps and stuff, because at the moment he and his friends have to travel to Bedford, which is the closest facility. And someone's raised a sports festival idea as well. So lots of engagement with the community, which I think is fantastic. And if any ideas or other items come up that I haven't just mentioned, and you want to mention those to either me as chair or to Phil, then those are the sorts of things that we should really be engaging with the community with and trying to take forward if we think that's a good idea. Good, okay, sorry about that. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Good. Right. Have we received any public questions in accordance with Standing Order 20?
There are none, Chair.
Okay. Can we confirm the minutes? So the only point I would make of it is the numbering's all a bit to cock again. So we start at 22, for example, in our cap, but obviously don't know whether you want to. We say subject to amending the numbers.
So, Chair, I wish I was in a stronger knowledge position to be able to answer this, but I know that as the minutes are produced as we go through the year, I'm not sure whether these are just consecutive or what, but it was explained to me years ago, and I've forgotten what it actually means, and I apologise for that. I can probably find it, but I think that might be part of the system. But
Okay.
I will
It
check.
makes sense.
I will check it for.
Right, okay, so 21 is the last item on the agenda for last time. Is that what we're thinking?
I'll find out for you exactly how the numbering system works and let you know.
No, I've got them here. So yeah, so 21 was the last item in the minutes of last time. So that makes sense.
Okay.
So they are
Yeah,
just
yeah.
running through.
Right.
Okay, right, fine. And did anyone else have any comments on the minutes of the last meeting? No? Okay, so we can confirm those then. Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks. Right, at page 6, you'll find the forward planner. Did anyone have any comments?
Yes, please, Chair.
Mm.
Picking up your comments in your report, I've had a number of very favourable comments about the planter and how lovely it looks and what a good idea it is, looking to provide extra seating for when the town is hosting big events, I haven't had anything negative. That's not to say there may not be some negative comments, but I've not received any.
Okay, oh, that's great, thank you.
I spoke to some people today as I stopped to take some pictures, and that was interesting. There was one man who was talking about the spending and how we're spending money that we don't have, and I said, well, actually, I've got this money allocated for this, and it's for everyone in our town to enjoy. And yeah, so there was a couple of chats.
Did you also explain it was the cheapest option we could come up with as well? I guess the whole reason we've done it is because of the routes aren't coming up.
Yes.
And it was the cheapest thing to do to deal with the uneven pavement.
I didn't like to explain that to him.
But you felt it was maybe.
Well, he continued to, I was with someone else, and he continued to shout at me.
Oh,
Because I said-
okay.
Because there's a couple of them, and I said, well, I'll pass your comments back to the council.
Okay.
And he proceeded to shout, and I don't think he's voting for anyone in this room.
Right.
Yeah.
That's useful then, or- We are responding to an email from someone who again said that they weren't keen and didn't quite realise why we'd done it, and there were some legitimate concerns. But I think once they either read the minutes of the last meeting or read the pack and the report, and obviously we'll respond to them, I think they may or may not change their mind, but I think they'll understand why we've done it.
I know I had an issue at planning level where the other flower bed is, but there's actually a good distance from the existing flower bed to the new planter. There's probably a couple of metres there. So where I thought maybe there might be a trip hazard, it actually turned out pretty well.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And the flowers are all nicely planted in there today, so it looks lovely.
Oh, good. Yeah. So anything else on the forward plan? I mean,
You mentioned the park run and said you've had feedback. What was the feedback you received?
just that very positive,
Good.
really well attended. And it looked really, really good. It looks well organised. I think they have a lot of volunteers each week.
And
They
anything
have to.
detriment, anything negative about it all, everyone's.
I haven't received anything.
No, I
negative.
haven't heard anything feedback at all.
My neighbours are raving about it because they're part of the running a lot. They just love it. And Half Hour Road does it. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I don't.
Everyone's really enjoying it, but I spoke to someone today and
Not shouty man again.
no, lovely lady. The only thing was she'd left her child with the grandparent whilst she went off and did the run, and the grandparent subsequently lost the child. The child's wandered off. So I wonder with the volunteers maybe an option to maybe offer out just those little paper wristbands. Just one of the wardens.
Telephone number on it.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
yeah. Because I mean, for the cost of that, not very much.
I mean, the thing is, you could say a child, we're not taking responsibility for
Well,
the child.
exactly. Yeah.
But here's a wristband, put it on, put your telephone number on.
Yeah, one of the marshals had found the child who was 5,
Yeah.
and he was quite upset. But I just thought that might be quite a useful thing for not very much.
The marshals could hand them out, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
So-
being
so-
reviewed, isn't it? And we've got, there's a date in that, isn't there, September, for the review. I think that could be.
That's what I was about to say, Chair,
Yeah.
that we'll have opportunity to discuss that on the agenda in September.
Yeah, brilliant. Did you make a note of the wristband idea?
Yeah.
I think that might be something to feedback. Yeah, great. As always, I expect that a couple more items on the agenda will arrive by September because the officers are really busy. You seem to be quite proactive and respond to stuff as it happens. So I'm happy to approve that as it stands and we look forward to seeing if it comes.
Sounds a bit like the lighting. If, you know, the lighting in the park at night time, did that turn off?
I think he said it's on his timer.
Oh, so the new one that we'll be discussing in a bit, yeah.
Yes, if you're talking about the new
It's all
floodlights, I can tell you all about that when we
Yeah,
get there.
yeah.
Excited.
And then resolution tracker. I did have a question on that. So, the review of the bylaw. So that's in progress because we're waiting for land to be recorded with the land registry. Have we got a date? I mean, we know, don't we, from experience that the land registry is slow, but have we got a date or any idea?
Chair, no, we haven't. This has been going on for years now. So we actually carried out a full review of the bylaws in anticipation and being optimistic that by the time that we had done that, it would be recorded, the new items of land would be recorded with the land registry. And so we would be able to complete the process. But that's probably about 2 years ago that we did that now, and we are still waiting. But there is, I think it's Heather who is dealing with this, that she is sorting out sort of some legal things with the land registry to actually bring this to a conclusion.
Okay.
But I haven't got a timescale for it.
But it's proactively in hand. We're not
Yes,
sort of
it's-
waiting and just
You
doing.
know, my understanding is that Heather is now involved in action to actually get this progressed.
Great, okay. And so, because we can't sort of say that that's ticked off, is there anything within the bylaws here that would affect what we're going to be voting on in a moment on page 20 when we're looking at the surface bylaws?
No, there is a check.
No, because that is all settled and answered.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, okay. Oh, and the other question I had, I'm sorry, was so we all are responsible, we vote, don't we, on whether there should be memorial benches and things, and we have got a couple in our pack. But the resolution here is to approve the request of them, and that's complete. But I was just wondering whether the actual memorial benches had been installed, and so therefore the action is complete. Or is it that so we've done our job, which we know we did because we did it last time when we approved it?
Yeah, yes, Chair. I think the way that this works is it's regarded as complete once you have made the decisions. It's not waiting until the operational action has been carried out. Otherwise, the tracker would be absolutely massive. I have to admit that I'm not sure whether these ones have been. I know that Jackie Brown's is definitely in place. The other one may have been, but I'm not 100% sure because you may be aware that we've had about 9 benches ripped out. They're very difficult to get out because they're securely fixed with anchor bolts into concrete below the surface. So it's obviously a game people are playing because we reinstated 2 or 3 of them and they were then ripped out again and we've reinstated them more heavy duty. But we have put 2 more of those back in today in front of that. So installation of benches operationally is an ongoing thing.
Do we report that to the police?
Yes.
Oh, so this is sad, isn't it?
They're not covered by CCTV, I suppose.
It'd be nice to have CCTV in the park.
Sorry.
It'd be nice to have more CCTV.
So Hartlepool Town Council Carl installed, got installed that additional CCTV up by Rothamsted play area because there wasn't any there. The others, the benches that are most affected have been over by Bar Lambs and over by the public halls. Mhm.
You think people would see something, wouldn't you, unless it's really late?
It's amazing how much effort goes into putting it in. But they must have similarly spend quite some time getting it up.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that doesn't continue because that's really sad. So we're asked to note and approve, subject to amendments and comments, the forward planner and the resolution tracker. Are we happy to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving to page 9 of your pack, we've got the terms of reference. We're asked to consider these, discuss any amendments and comments to put to council for formal consideration and approval. Sorry to ask a horrible question, but are dog poo bins included in our remit? Don't know what that would that come under street furniture?
They are within our remit, Chair, because the remit covers all of the open spaces, green spaces, and,
Yeah, no.
and the bins and the dog poo bins are part of those spaces.
Okay. So I understand that some of the bins are district council. Are they emptied by district council, or are we responsible for all?
So,
Sorry.
no, it's just that this has been a real topic in email for the last couple of days. So there are bins on our land throughout the town centre, which are owned and serviced by St Albans District Council. So one on Leighton Green, Church Green, if there's still one opposite Godfrey's, those are St Albans bins. The only bins that we own in the town centre are the ones that we increase the capacity of within the Century Garden, where there are picnic benches and things. So we own the ones in the Century Garden. We own all of the bins in our other green spaces, but then there are St Albans bins near our green spaces. So, for example, if you go to Batford Springs on Lower Luton Road, where the Pelican Crossing is, and the tarmac path goes through the middle of the reserve from there across the river, the bin near the Lower Luton Road on the edge of Batford there, that's not ours. The one down by the Ford is not ours, that's St Albans. The one immediately outside Lydekker Park fence by the entrance to the car park, that's St Albans as well. So
That's really bizarre. And the ones along the main road?
the-
They'll be St Albans as well.
The one by Douglas Road definitely is, because they have to get it emptied more regularly.
Okay.
so
It'd be useful to know how to get that done.
one's
It'd be useful to know how to get that done.
Well, contact the district and contact if you're just
Yeah.
the Chair, the ones on the common places, like just near the entrance to the cricket club, just to the right of the entrance there, they're ours. I think there's one over closer to the bottom of Crabtree Lane, which is in a little bit from the edge of the common there, that's ours. But things like there's one on the pavement just here in front of Park Hall, that's a St Albans one. And then there's one up, I can't remember the name of the oh, it's St Joseph's, isn't it? There's one up there that is St Albans and stuff like that. So as a generalisation, bins on our green spaces are ours, and anything else is St Albans through the Veolia contract.
Right.
If I may, am I correct to understand that this terms of reference is equals no change on the last time it was approved or noted?
So this terms of reference, Chair, is as it was after the review process was conducted last year.
So no substantive change then, that we're not being, there's nothing changing underneath this that.
There's nothing The list that's there should be
Same.
was approved at the end of the last review process.
Okay.
Yeah, so the bin that was on West Common, up at Prospect Lane, that would be St Albans Council. It was there, but it's being removed. Yeah, that's my issue with the dog poo. It used to sit on the edge of yeah. So it's, yes,
In the field. Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yes, so
Thank you.
So I recall that bin, and there was quite a saga about it. There was nobody that would empty it because it's not on our land. We deal with bins on our land, and nobody else was willing to empty it. That's why it's not there anymore.
so who
It was
owned
removed.
St Albans Council, yeah?
Well, St Albans Council are the litter authority for the district, but they were they basically wouldn't accept responsibility to empty it. So there was nobody to empty that bin, and it's not on our land.
Yeah, so now people just fly tip the poo.
Yeah, there's a similar situation on Cross Lane.
Yeah.
The field, going to that.
Yeah. And it's sad because obviously the farmer doesn't have to let people walk over his land.
Yeah.
But Councillor Roberts is obviously very patient, much more so than me.
Yeah, well, it might be worth a letter to your district councillor then, by the
Yeah,
sounds of
that's the thing to do. Go to your district councillor, ask, and then district councillor should take it forward with. Yes.
See, the land doesn't belongs to Jarvis now. Jarvis own that field.
But Councillor Roberts still manages it.
So the year before last, Chair, there was huge amounts of communications backwards and forwards between us and St Albans District Council and members of the community, and the litter authority weren't willing to take on emptying the bin, and it's not on our land, and it's not on the course of our litter bin run either. So we weren't going to take it on.
Right.
So it wasn't the farmer's bin, it was St Albans bin?
Again, it is a bit unclear as to the history behind installing it. And as a result, the answer is nobody would accept responsibility for emptying it. So there is no bin there.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so do we agree that the list on page 11, 3.1, accurately reflect, or it remains relevant, effective, and reflect the council's current responsibilities and strategic priorities? I think that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Great. So we are happy for that to be put to council. Page 12 is the start of the report on the circus tender. Did you want to take us through that at all?
Yes, Chair. In brief, this presents a tender specification for a non-animal circus for the committee's consideration. An annual circus is provided for the enjoyment of the residents of Harpenden. We've had circuses quite regularly on an annual basis throughout the years, and they do seem to be welcomed by the community. You've seen many tender specifications before. This is a tender specification for providing this service.
Any amendments that you want to draw us to our attention that would be different from the last one? Or are they taken from a well-known and reputable template? We can.
Yeah, so Chair, that it is basically the same. Just a few years ago, we changed the spec so that they can only come in the non-winter months after we had, I think it was a December circus that got stuck trying to leave the land, and that caused quite a bit of damage. So we have it in the months that we hope the ground is firmer and less susceptible to damage. And the only other things that have been strengthened in recent years are to do with how they deal with their wastewater and sewage and things like that.
Okay.
But a lot of those are like operational things that will go within any contract that gets agreed following the tender process.
Okay. So are there any questions then about
I'm
this?
very sorry, I don't, it might be obvious. My understanding Councillor Fisher's question was what's different in the tender? And is the gist of it that the only thing that's different is the months that the circus things end? Is that the short version?
That's the short version, but also it's fair to say that we've been practicing that for a couple of years now. The other thing that was more, and again, it's not brand new into here because I think it's existed for a year or two, is there is a paragraph in there where the circus are required to give a certain amount of free tickets to the food bank and to the Harpenden Trust for families that can afford to buy tickets.
Okay.
I asked you my question about the bylaws and whether that would have any impact. You answered that for me. So unless anyone's got any other questions or observations, we in a position to approve that? Yep. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Great, thank you. Right, so we're going on to Jane's favourite topic after Cubans. Page 26 is the Rothamsted floodlights. You want to introduce us, please?
So, Chair, yes, I will. So here, committee is being asked to consider whether it wishes to install floodlights in Rothamsted Park, Skate Park. The local police sergeant supports this concept with the expectation that lights would help deter illegal and antisocial behaviour, improve safety, and help incidents to be investigated more effectively because the CCTV would have more chance of seeing what's going on. He's added that over the winter months and coming into New Year, they saw an increase in antisocial behaviour and crime within that area of Rothamsted. And he believes that that's due to the lack of lighting around the location. They saw an increase in youth smoking, doing drugs and underage drinking, and there's been glass bottles smashed around the park as well as damage to memorial benches. So during this process, an application was submitted and successfully secured £7,500 in grant funding from the Police and Crime Commissioner. The specification of 3 proposed floodlights complies with protection of bats and wildlife, something that our Green Space Development officers were very keen to make sure was achieved, as 2 of them have performed ecological roles in the past. The lights will switch off, going back to the question that was asked by Councillor Ray earlier, the lights will switch off by timer, which is aligned to the times of the tennis courts and mugger lights, which is 10 PM to prevent late night operation in that location.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. I asked the question in our meeting as to whether this was the only quote that we've had in, or whether we got more than one quote, but this is the one that we've been asked to approve. And if that is right, the basis upon which this one was the preferred.
So, Chair, I apologise, I've forgotten to ask me that question.
Sorry,
I think the answer is that considering looking at the value of it, in accordance with our sort of financial regulations and practices, we clearly have to request a certain number of quotes. And I'm quite confident that this won't have made it into the pack, which has also gone through the rest of the management team here, if additional quotes, unless of course there aren't other people that provide this. I'm not sure what they
Okay, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Chair. I forgot to make that up.
And I also asked the question, but actually it's answered in the papers, because what I didn't want to happen is for us to be looking at a quote for a certain figure, and then actually it's like, oh, well, he didn't act on time for that, so now it's increased by whatever. But there's a validity of 4 weeks. So if we decide that this is what we want to invest the council's money on, then we would be in that 4-week period. And then the delivery is 8 to 10 weeks from the order payment. And there's a 3-year warranty, which I thought. The only thing that would be an additional cost is any additional visits over and above the one visit, which would be £1,500 per visit. So that would be the only sort of slight contingency that we'd need. I know it does seem quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think there's interest.
But I mean, if they don't need another visit, then obviously we won't be charged that. But
So if you've got a 3-year warranty, do we still have to pay for the visits from that warranty?
well, it's just the installation, I think. So the installation work to be complete with one visit. Any additional visit will be charged. So I think it's just in relation to the initial installation. And perhaps that could be checked.
Yes, Chair. So if after the committee has had its discussion tonight, if the committee is of the view of approving this, then they could do so with the condition that we have to check what the likelihood is of that additional cost being incurred.
I see the project will be primarily funded through external grant support from the Police and Crime Commissioner.
That is correct, Chair.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
What are, I know that, I know the comment that ongoing maintenance costs can be covered out of the ongoing operations and maintenance budget, but what are the ongoing maintenance costs? Don't know.
Well, Chair, I would assume that in relation to lights, that would be if things like bulbs went.
Yeah.
I don't know of us having had to change any bulbs recently in floodlights further up the park. A month or so ago, we had to change the head of one of the original street lights that's just inside the entrance to the park off of Leighton Road. So I'm assuming that that's the case, but
Do we do that in-house though, or do we contract people to do that?
oh,
Or grounds people do it?
no, it has to, because it requires a cherry picker.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate actually, because sometimes when you get quotes, we've got quotes before from electricians for that sort of task. And because not many electricians have got cherry pickers, there's like a £600 higher cost that they have to put on their quote. But our electrical lights contractor was in town, and they did it with no extra charge for the cherry picker.
So just a pay.
It's not a case of requiring like annual maintenance or anything to that description, because I know that it says 1st-year maintenance, and I assumed that was different by nature of the fact that additional are covered under the quote. I assumed that was different from the installation by nature of the specific comment regarding one visit for the purpose of installation. I thought, well, if that's the case, then it'd be quite weird to have that described as 1st-year maintenance, which was the purpose of my question.
Yes, I also find the terms, now that you're discussing it, I find it slightly confusing because there's a 3-year warranty on it. I have to admit that I don't know what annual maintenance would be on a floodlight, because
It's a floodlight.
yeah.
And how does it need to be maintained every year? And the lights, what's the life expectancy of them?
Chair, I don't know, but if we look at the muggers, for example, I mean it's a bit like when I think that it's a bit like when you put a bulb in something in your house, and it may last years or it may not. And now if I go to Porters Hill Park mugger, we changed all the bulbs there, but that was 3 or 4 years ago now. And I hadn't known, I've been here nearly 9.5 years, and I hadn't known them being changed before that. So in my mind, floodlights are quite low maintenance generally.
£15,000.
So we've sort of skipped, but possibly answering the first question implicitly, but we probably should consider separately the question of whether or not we think we should install floodlights in the Winstead Park, skate park. Shall we deal with that one first?
Well, it's Lisa recommending it.
And the Police and Crime Commissioner is ready to provide most of the funding.
I think it would be,
We should.
thank you. Good.
Yeah, okay, so we're all agreed on the first one, and then, so are we then in a position, being asked all the questions about the release of the, actually, do we need £15,000? We don't, yeah, we don't need 15,000, do we?
So Chair, I spoke to the head of corporate today,
Yes, okay,
Dan,
thank you.
to try to get some clarification on that.
Yeah,
What he said to me was that the reason that the recommendation that the committee is being asked to consider approving, that they recommend to council the full amount, is because the way that this will probably work in practice is we know we've got the grant approved, we haven't got the money yet. I think the way that Dan thinks the way that it will work is, we get it done, we pay for it, and we claim the money back from the, all £7,500 back from the grant, and then he deals with that £7,500 within the budget. But in the first instance, it is the full amount that's being asked to be released to be able to facilitate that.
okay. So that is, so by releasing 15, we're not using our community services budget, as it were, for this, and we're not going to see that 7.5 back, so that we then can't do a project later on.
It's more like a bridging loan, isn't
It's, yeah, so if that 7.5 goes back into our pot,
But the contribution is met from community safety, CCTV initiatives, capital budget, not community services.
So I think,
yeah,
Chair,
yeah,
that's right, that it's,
Yeah.
that it's, for example, in the management plans that we usually use for managing all of our green spaces, that's a different budget to what this one says this is coming from.
yeah, okay, so I just want to make sure that people aren't going to miss out on something else because we've spent some money on floodlights, that's all.
No, Chair.
Yeah, great, okay. Can we approve then?
Sorry, but can I just clarify though, on that basis, if there were to be overruns, would we be functionally approving a spend of up to £22,500, assuming the grant had come in before such a point? Because this seems like a release, not a, like, it reads to me as a release of up to £15,000, not as a release of up to £7,500 with £7,500, as you say, bridging loan up until the point of receipt of the grant. Because it's so, for example, if this project was to overrun significantly in cost, the way this reads to me is that we would be approving the additional expense, assuming that two things happen. The first of which is before the point at which it runs past £15,000, the receipt of the £7,500 grant occurs, and then you have an overrun of costs, at which point we've released £15,000 from the slush fund.
I suppose, so, yeah, I mean, the reality probably is that we will get that 7.5, and with all of the evidence that we've got and the application and the invoice, that we are only going to be spending up to 7,500, aren't we? But I suppose we should go in with our eyes open and think, well, actually, we may end up spending 15 grand on it because the grant might not come in for some whatever reason because that's gone, or it goes over budget.
So, Chair, I think that we'd be doing this with the expectation that we will not go above the budget, and we will try our best to make sure that that doesn't happen. But we will be, it is asking for the full £15,000 because initially it is likely the council will pay the full £15,000, but then the £7,500 comes back in from the Police and Crime Commission to go back into Harpenden Town Council's budgets. So in effect, we've then only paid £7,500.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, but the job still gets done. If it overran in cost, the job would still be done because there'd be £15,000 there plus the 7.5. But you will obviously use your best endeavours to ensure that it doesn't happen.
Yes, I mean, generally
I
speaking,
think that sounds. Yeah.
yeah, generally speaking, Chair, I think that I hope I'm not proved wrong on this, we're quite good at making sure that we actually spend what we're saying we're going to spend. But if it did go over, then somewhere we would find the budget to do that, unless it looked like it was going into stupid figures, then of course there'd be other decisions.
Yeah.
But there are budgetary reserves for the purpose of overruns. So I think the substance of my question is, if we were to end up in a scenario where £17,000 had been spent, which I'm not, I'm not suggesting for a moment that I would think this is a bad idea on the basis of the additional £2,000 spent, but I'm trying to clarify whether or not that overrun would have been approved to come out of this specific budgetary pool, or as whether or not that overrun would come out of the budgetary overheads that are set aside for the purpose of overruns.
That's probably a question for Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, so that would probably be a future decision, because if it's a couple of £1,000s, we would probably look to see whether it was necessary to use any other kind of reserve that exists, or whether we can absorb that into, say, the management plan for Northampton Park.
Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're asked to recommend to council the release of £15,000 from the CIP. Happy to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Was there a condition? I can't remember what it was, that thing that you raised about the condition that you wanted on it. Or...
Well, you suggested a condition, but I'm not sure.
If there isn't one, that's absolutely fine. But
That was with respect to the tenders, was it not? But I've lost.
No, it was about the £1,200 for an extra visit, wasn't it? I think you suggested that we should ask for a condition that if more than one visit was necessary, that you would do something. I can't remember what you said you were going to do now.
yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to sort of prejudge whether that's going to happen or
Well,
not.
exactly.
And it's taken before it's there.
Yeah.
Contractual things. Well,
Yeah,
So
so
whether or not a second visit is needed depends upon whether or not, I don't know, that people could install the lights during one visit, or whether they've got to come back, in which case I would presume they would bear any cost.
yeah.
As opposed to us just calling them out.
Yes, so Chair, so
Yeah.
going back on what I said a few minutes ago, it probably is quite difficult to put a condition on, but all we can do is try our very best to manage it expeditiously to make sure that extra cost doesn't crop up.
How many other local clients this company around here that you can get reference from? Because there's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chair, I don't know the answer to that. It's been dealt with by another manager within the organisation, within town council.
It looks good.
I think it's very good.
Yeah, good addition.
I think it's good. Okay, all right. Yeah, so no condition then.
Okay.
So we just hope that it is just one visit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we'll all be in the park carrying floodlights from a van. Right, okay. No, we won't. No, we won't. Right, page 33, Health and Safety Tree Survey Tender. Has everyone had a chance to look at this? It's a document by Alex and Megan. Did you want to say anything about this one?
Just briefly, Chair, that the committee recently reviewed the town council's tree policy. So in line with that policy, all trees and tree groups undergo a health and safety survey every 18 months. 18 months complies with legal expectations, but it also results in opportunity to inspect the trees at different times of the year. Because the way it works out is one inspection, they will have leaves on, the next inspection, they will be bare, so you can see different things about the trees. The tender specification is simply presented here for your consideration. It's something that comes to committee on a regular basis.
We went over it last time, didn't we?
Yes.
This particular one, so it's been reviewed, the same one, yeah.
Yes, that's correct, Chair.
Yeah.
Do you remember it being slightly over budget last time as well? So the further, so at 4.2, I'm only going to ask this because I know Sam's going to ask it in here. the further 20, was there?
Well, I know, I don't remember the budget side of it. I just remember they were talking about, trees and what, and the work they were going to do in it, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
don't remember anything about the budget or whether it was affordability or anything.
No.
Okay.
Is this sort of because of this sudden limb drop syndrome that seems to be hitting trees? Because I think it's quite costly to have to look after a tree that's got that. Isn't
Yeah.
So Chair, we used to have a budget lower than £70,000 per year for trees, but experience has shown that there has been lots of health and safety and operational response responding to things like the limb tree drop that has meant that £50,000 was an inadequate budget. The costs of the tree surveys also have to come out of that annual general tree budget as well. And that is why the head of corporate as part of the year-end financial processes, has allocated the extra money to the tree budget.
Will that be year on year though, or is that exceptional for this year because of the
I
condition?
think it's going to be year on year.
Well, it's the year.
When it's like got a certain amount of trees that need looking after.
Very dry. Yeah.
Yes, Chair. That's how I see it. That it will be an increased budget for future years because £50,000 was not adequate.
This is why Sheffield chopped all theirs down.
Oh, it's such an awful solution though, isn't it?
It's awful, especially that street with which they planted the trees for people who'd fallen in the First World War.
Is that Portsmouth?
No, I thought that was Sheffield.
Sheffield, yes.
Yeah, I remember it's Sheffield.
Sorry, well, thanks for answering my question. So did everyone have a chance to have a look at the actual document?
Yes.
Any comments or observations?
No.
I see you've got 3 words. I've only just discovered what that is. It's good, isn't it?
It is very good, and I have to say the people that use it much more than me are the Green Space Development Officers.
Yeah.
Yes, they're quite experts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really helpful. Okay, well, if there aren't any comments or proposals to amend, then shall we approve that as proposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Page 45, there is a report concerning the purchase of a new vehicle for the Town Ranger service. Did you want to say anything about that?
Yes, Chair. So this outlines the need for a new large vehicle to support the Town Ranger service. The specification outlined within this report meets the needs of the Town Ranger service, which we are clearly fully aware of now, having been operating for 2 years. So the specification very closely follows what we've currently got with our Volkswagen truck. So it has a cage back for health and safety so that bags and other things don't fly out and cause accidents. The current truck has tipping capability, which is very useful if you were to load it up with earth that you need to dump somewhere rather than unload it manually, but also in major leaf clearance. That truck you put a tarpaulin over the cage, and then you can use our massive great leaf vacuum to fill it up with leaves, which means that when we get it to our green waste site, again, we can just tip it out rather than having to spend more time labouring with it. Something that our current truck hasn't got, which has been identified as required on this one, is a tail lift. So at the minute, whenever we've got something really, really heavy, we have to get enough rangers to try to manually put it onto the back. And in these day and age, people tend not to do that. You usually have some mechanism to do it. So this particular vehicle that is proposed within this report is equipped with a tail lift as well as tipping facility. The other thing that's also required because of the nature of our lands is four-wheel drive facility. Otherwise, we'd constantly be doing loads of damage, getting stuck at Batford or stuck on the common. This new vehicle, if approved by committee, it will provide resilience for the service when the other large vehicle is out of service. Because when we've been waiting for 3 or 4 weeks for the Volkswagen dealer to actually take it in to do some repairs on it, that's 3 or 4 weeks, and we've been operating with a smaller pickup, which can't meet all the needs of what the town rangers have to do. But it's also part of succession planning, because the Mitsubishi pickup, which is still a very, very useful vehicle, is now 11 years old. So it may go on for a.
Go on, council.
So the Mitsubishi pickup may go on for a few more years if we're lucky. But there may come a point where we are suddenly told it needs this and this and this, and it's financially unviable to maintain. So those are all the reasons why we're requesting the committee to approve a new additional vehicle for the town ranger service.
I've got 2 questions.
Yep.
First one was got to slip my mind just for a moment, but the second one was: is it going to be branded like the one we see around the town now?
Yeah, so we get all of our vehicles branded as Harpenden Town Council vehicles, and they're usually marked as Town Ranger vehicles as well.
Yeah, okay. You see them a lot, don't you? No, they're always missing. They're always up to stuff, aren't you? It's nice to see.
Yes, Chair.
Aware of anything else from a succession planning perspective that's going to be needed in the next couple of years?
Chair, I don't know the answer to that. Within the next couple of years, there could be lots of things that come onto the horizon because of the local government reorganisation. So it may well be, I don't know whether it will be as soon as 2 years, but it may identify that additional resources of all types are required, which may include vehicles. In terms of things like the tractor and the lawnmowers, the town clerk and the head of corporate have obviously catered within the financial planning that each year some investment is made, so that when they wear out, that the council will be in a position to be able to replace them. But again, whether or not more of those resources will be required as a result of local government reorganisation, we'll have to wait and see.
Might know a bit more in the summer when government's supposed to tell Hertfordshire how many unitary authorities it's going to have, and that and then that'll give you an idea about structure. And I guess then opportunities that might flow from that to pick up, say, more green spaces. I mean, the other thing we will have potentially further down the line is with the new developments, there may well be green spaces contained in those that town council has
Yes, that's true.
to look after.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Chair. Yes.
Bigger parks, more
So,
trees.
Yes.
More vehicles.
Yeah,
So you
that's
are
correct.
doing
And
the
verges and
future
things.
thing.
Yes, Chair, we are.
Could you spend 106 money on vehicles, or is that not the idea?
I don't think that we can, Chair. I don't think that we can.
I don't think so.
No, I've not. I sort of feel that if we could, I think I know about it, because the times that I've been told about it, I've been thinking, well, that could be really useful, and I haven't seen that.
Can't spend it on track
Oh,
goods.
right. Oh, well, yeah, so no.
I think your development's having like urges and things. I'm just wondering, don't they have to do with that? You know, they have management fees and things. I'm just wondering will that affect the amount of people.
Council would do that.
Yeah.
So, Chair, I think there will be discussions between Harpenden Town Council and the developers as to what assets, whether it be buildings, whether it be green spaces, sports facilities, play areas, what facilities are handed to the town council, and what the management arrangements would then be.
Yeah. Any other questions about the vehicle? I did ask about sort of hire purchase and that sort of thing, and it's just with the spec, that wasn't an option, was it? So I have grilled. So
Yeah, so Chair,
second hand and things like, just trying to see whether we could get it cheap. Not practical, is it?
it's not, Chair, because in terms of lease, we do very low miles. So in theory, if we look after the vehicle, it may last us 10 or 15 years. And if that happens, it's going to be far cheaper having bought it outright than to be leasing it for that length of time. And we spoke about second-hand vehicles, and our experience of our Volkswagen was not a good one. And at one point, people were suggesting, well, why don't we just sell it? And so we could then be in a position where we're buying a second-hand one because somebody else was in the same position as we were with the Volkswagen and they didn't want it anymore and were trying to offload it. So it's a better option to buy a new vehicle.
Yeah, and you'll get the warranty and all of that sort of thing, won't you, with a new one?
Yes, Chair.
Volkswagen van servicing is very, very bad. In the next, my bus has to go in as a van.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Chair, that's been our experience.
Right. So the committee is asked to approve the purchase of the new 4x4 cage tipper truck with tail lift, subject to council approval, and the additional allocation 21 into the Town Ranger vehicle earmark reserve, and releasing £51,000 from that reserve. I'm happy to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
That's everyone. And last on the agenda is our river. Oh no, sorry, it's not the last one. I'm so sorry. Penultimate. River assets repairs, and the report starts at page 50. Would you take us through that one for me, please?
Yes, Chair. So this report presents the main findings of recent condition surveys of the Batford Springs river assets. So the main things the three things that we get inspected there about every 4 years are the main weir, then the small stepping stones near the play area, and the sluice gate. You will see within the summary of recommendations within the appendices that there are, in addition to the works that we focused on within this report, there are additional ones, but they are considered to be less urgent and more minor and will be dealt with in due course. So this is just about informing the committee of the three main pieces of maintenance work that we're going to be doing there soon. The reason that the committee is being asked to note rather than approve is that it's a relatively small amount of money that's going to be involved with this.
Yeah. So I noted on page 53 the risk and the health and safety and other implications and the legal obligations that we have as responsible because we're responsible for the river. And I can see why this has come up now and why we're asked to note so that those can be done.
So yes, Chair, that's correct. And the requirements for two of the proposed works within the report are at the main Sweeney Falls Weir, and they were identified within the recent surveys. One of them is if you would stand at the top of the weir and look down the river on the left-hand side, by the left-hand side of the where the stepping stones reach, it's identified that there is a risk of collapse, that where people climb down from the side onto the stepping stones, that needs underpinning with concrete. So that's one bit of work. Then going back, standing on top of the weir, looking down the river, if you look to your right, there's a bit of the bank there that we have repaired several times ourselves, but they've highlighted that if that is not dealt with, that could eventually lead to a collapse of part of the weir as well. So that's why we are going to carry out, or a contractor is going to carry out, putting in the sheets which form a barrier for the water then getting through and doing more damage to the bank. The third item of work identified in there relates to slightly further upstream, but before you get to the Batford Springs Local Nature Reserve Centre, there is a place in the bank where the waterproofness of the bank is compromised, and river water is getting into the central pond area where there is a borehole, you can actually see there's disturbance of water there on the side of that, which is the water coming through and seeping into there. And the reason it's important to try to keep that bank maintained is that eventually in the future there would be a risk of it actually collapsing down and the river reverting to its original position down where the chalk streams are, because it is an artificial perched mill stream where it was built to service the Batford Mill. But the second thing is that the water where the town council a few years ago drilled the 75-metre boreholes, that water coming up 75 metres from the pure aquifer is pretty pure water. But the water in the river is full of nitrates and other contaminants. So if you were to go and test the water in that central pond chalk area, you would find that it has got contamination from this water that's getting through. So that's the reasons why that bank repair needs doing as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yeah. Were there any questions about the three pieces of work that have just been outlined or anything else in the report?
Seems a good idea to keep an eye on it, keep particularly big repairs rather than keeping on top of it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? So we're being asked to note the proposal 2.1.1 as outlined, and then 2.1.2 use the contractor to undertake the works, and 2.1.3 is to use the town ranger service to undertake the repairs for defect 3. So as they'll set them out 1, 2 and 3. So contractor for 1 and 2 and us for, well, the town ranger service for 3. Everyone happy to note?
Yes.
Yeah, they're all noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Yeah. And now it's the final item on the agenda at page 58, request for memorials. Excuse me. Did you want to take us through that? It's paragraph 3.2 for people looking at the report.
Yes, Chair, thank you. So the report details 2 requests. Request for a memorial tree for Mr. John Cotton to be placed on Harpenden Common, adjacent to the eastern edge of St John's Wood. And the second one is for a memorial bench for a former Harpenden resident, Mr. Nick Thomas, to be placed at Barlands on Harpenden Common. Now, the lives background of the applicants have been considered in accordance with the town council's policy, and both requests are recommended to the committee for approval.
Any questions?
No.
So the committee is asked to approve the request for the memorial tree for Mr. John Keith Cotton on Harpenden Common. Yeah. Thank you. And the committee is asked to approve the request for a memorial bench for Mr. Nick Thomas on Harpenden Common.
Is there, so with these memorial benches, there's a fee paid and then you put, then the memorial bench is put up kind of thing? How does it work?
4.1, is there anything above and beyond the admin cost?
So, Chair, the applicants who want the bench or the tree installed pay for a tree or the bench.
Right.
And then there's, for installing a bench, there's that admin fee as well. So
They effectively pay for the installation as well.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's correct, Chair.
Is it worth incorporating fees for the vandalisation that may well occur in the future at all?
So I think, Chair, that when this has been considered previously, the view was taken that the town council, although we do get a maintenance liability, we are also getting an asset of a bench or an asset of a tree paid for by somebody as well. So,
Yes.
So we haven't taken any further costs forward.
I just wonder, it seems to be the destruction of the benches, and it seems to be escalating to a certain amount. I don't know though if that's the case. Is it escalating at all? It just, or is it just me? I just being aware of it, and then which I didn't know before because before I wasn't on town council, so I didn't really know so much of it. Because I think it's very good the way it's, I think, repaired before you actually notice there is a problem.
Yes.
Whereas something like fly tipping, you can't miss it.
Yeah. So Chair, the answer to that is we will probably be able to answer it in a few weeks' time. The reason for that is that we've had this blip where it was about 2 or 3 weeks, benches were ripped out, benches were put back, more benches were ripped out. And so we haven't rushed to put the benches back.
Right.
Now we've started putting them back. We will find, and we get them all back. We will find out over the next few weeks whether they get ripped out or whether they've got over that phase.
Well, let's hope it's the latter.
Yeah.
Because these benches mean something.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. It's really sad that they're being ripped out.
And I don't know whether is there any way we can make people aware, or I don't know, just
It might just encourage them
I
then.
was going to say
It's a
so.
publicity campaign.
Certainly in the first instance, it might not be worthwhile to remind whoever is doing this that they're getting a rise.
yeah,
Mm.
yes.
And also in terms of a kind of
Yes, so Chair, it's quite difficult with things like the nature cameras. It's finding somewhere close enough to where they would pick up something evidential without the camera being stolen itself. In other words, you've got to have somewhere secure. And a lot of the benches, particularly the ones on the common over there, are out in the open. So it's very difficult to do that sort of thing.
Public awareness. If you see a bench being nicked, can you tell us? I'd snap a picture and just push it on the net.
Yeah. Or but could you put a tracker in it? You know, like those job bench.
Well, they just rip them up and leave them there, don't they? So it's not like nick it.
then you're going to nick them back.
I don't know. It's just the most. Oh,
It's awful. It's not. No, thank you.
To be wary of the end of exam season because that tends to bring it worse in some people as well.
Yeah.
But Mark and his team are on it, I know, because we raise it every time.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Well, thank you for doing
well, I know. Pray for further rain because that'll keep everybody a bit damp and inside.
that. Right, so there's no exempt business. That's on the agenda, but we established that at the beginning.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah, great.
Actually, it's one of the- I'm assuming there is a record of where the memorial benches are in terms of the chain. Realise.
So, Chair, we do have records kept by the Green Space Development Officers. I think that because some of them go back many years, I think that although our current Green Space Development Officers have put together as comprehensive lists as they can, I can't guarantee that we have got records of origin of all the benches because the old records have gone awry somewhere.
Mostly got plaques on.
Yeah, no, I meant more. If they did start disappearing, like the plaques, it would be a shame if we lost the information as to who they relate. Because I certainly couldn't tell you them off the top of my head.
Yes.
And obviously, for the purpose of replacing them, but it sounds like the Green Spaces team have got that.
Yes,
Which is
I
good.
believe they have, Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Any further points, or can we conclude the meeting?
No.
Conclude at 20:39 or 40. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.